Welcome back to TechMate, Reid Hoffman edition. I am here with the romantically lit Michael Copeland and Reid Hoffman, investor, entrepreneur, executive chairman of LinkedIn. And we're going to pick his brain clean for all sorts of information about what's hot in technology, what's coming next. Let's just start off with that. What are you most excited about right now? LinkedIn, social networking, we know, big deal. But what's next? What has you jazzed?
Well, one thing I think is going on the internet is I think there's going to be a huge trend in social gaming that's already happening. I think that most Silicon Valley people see it, but I think the rest of the world will see it as well. I think there's going to be a fusion between mobile and the internet, where a lot of utility is now actually in your pocket and always there. I think it'll be useful in the trends of the social and professional networking. Like, so for example, you're at a conference like we're here today and say, who should I meet? You know, that sort of thing. I think you'll see interesting trends there. And I think that also, now that mobile has application platforms, I actually think that you might begin to see interesting applications coming out of it.
You and LinkedIn are one of the sort of earlier players in what we're now calling social media. And I'm just wondering, from where you sit, what has happened to LinkedIn's business through this recession? And what are some of the signals that you're seeing?
Well, so when the crisis hit, we were uncertain if, basically job seeking would go up and then recruiting would go down. Actually, for LinkedIn, both have gone up, so it's been good. And it's mostly because when in times of economic crisis, people care more about controlling their economic destiny, so they get more proactive about, well, what is this productivity tool and how do I use it, and can I use it for either I may be looking for a job, or I may just be going, okay, it's a more uncertain economic climate, I should be more informed about it, I should have a full profile, that sort of thing. And on the corporate side, this was the thing that was kind of a surprise to us. Many corporations found that we were such a much more effective way of recruiting and everything else that they just essentially went, okay, we'll use a lot less of classifieds, but we're actually going to stay the same or up with LinkedIn. So we've been quite pleased with that. So thus far, the crisis has actually, if anything, has helped increase our numbers by generally matching people together and helping them control their economic destinies. But it's been fine for us.
I mean, when you say increase your numbers, you're a private company, I know that, but revenues?
Oh, we don't actually reveal revenues.
I know. You could if you wanted.
Yeah, I understand. We've been profitable for the last 2 years. We're at 43 million people worldwide. We're growing at 1 million people every 17 days. That's entirely through people deciding that being connected is a valuable thing and sending out invitations, that sort of thing.
Are you an investor in Twitter?
No.
All right, so what's the big deal with Twitter?
So what I think has been discovered that's really cool is actually, in fact, having millions of people, with some percentage of them occasionally or frequently putting real-time short messages into a cloud gives you two benefits that are really useful. One is, if you configure the people that you're following, and that, like the follow metaphor, you can sometimes get an interesting list of, oh, well, here is, kind of a set of content that's interesting to me that is based off real time in terms of what's happening. The second thing, which is even more interesting to me, because I don't do the first as much, I do have a list of people I follow and I check it every so often because I'm curious about what's going on, mostly on the internet and that sort of thing. But the second is that by making open real-time search APIs to all this, you actually get real-time intelligence. And we were playing with this a lot at LinkedIn. We thought, oh my God, this is really cool. And so actually one of our engineers built this Company Buzz application, which is like takes your company and then searches the Twitter sphere for your company, and then does little analytics about what words are most common with it. Mm-hmm. And we've actually noticed that that's a useful way of getting real-time feedback of, like, we roll something out, and then we go look and say, how did people respond?
My issue with Twitter, I guess, is that you don't necessarily know who's out there, and you don't know if they're credible at all. Does that matter for the usefulness of it? Do we have to build some sort of credibility layer on top of it? Because for me, one of the things that's powerful about LinkedIn is its credibility. Unlike Friendster before it, where Big Bird had 10 profiles on it. LinkedIn. Yes, exactly. If I see Big Bird on LinkedIn, I can see, is he friends with Snuffy? Because if it probably really is.
So I actually do think that and LinkedIn's very committed to this. You're exactly right. Knowing who a person is, like if they're claiming expertise or if they're the right people to follow and anything else, is actually a very useful thing. And I actually think that one of the things you'll see happening in one segment, especially the professional segment of Twitter, because if what you're doing is, typing in Mumbai, because the Mumbai terrorist attacks, I don't know if you, like, all you're really trying to do is establish some kind of signal, right? But if you're actually taking business credibility and so forth, that kind of some linkage between, oh, these Twitter accounts are actually this kind of, are done by this person who has this background and I know who they are and so forth, that kind of thing I think will be interesting developments in the future. And we've looked at it a lot because we actually think that in addition, I mean, there's a whole wide variety of tweets. There's the, I'm going for a latte, but then there's also, hey, this business article is interesting. And we'd like to, using kind of Twitter APIs, we did that already with Company Buzz, begin to add some kind of business intelligence around it because a personal business intelligence for the person is one of the metaphors that we think about as we elaborate LinkedIn. So I think you're absolutely right that Twitter sphere needs that, and I hope that on the business side, the company that adds a bunch of value to is LinkedIn, but that's what we're working on.
I got $5 that says Reid can pull it off. I want to thank you, Reid Hoffman, for being our inaugural guest here on TechMate.
My pleasure.
And